Hello there, this is Samuel Chadwick.
And I'm Daniel Chadwick.
And this is our first video of our new channel, Initial Reactions, where we see a movie and then talk about, well, our initial reactions to it. Today's movie is the 2015 reboot of the Fantastic Four series. Okay, so the movie starts off with a very young Reed Richards in school.
There was a huge lack of enthusiasm behind what they did, and they kept having the same expression on their face from the start to the finish, which didn't show any depth of character at all at that time.
Reed demonstrates to he shows Ben Grimm his interdimensional, well, he doesn't think it's interdimensional at the time, my bad, teleporter. Anyway, so he reveals this, I forgot what you even called it, the matter shuttle, or whatever. I don't it got to the point where you just didn't care. It was called
the matter shuttle.
Yeah. Okay, so he later reveals this, so, like, years pass, and he's taken on by Franklin Storm, father of Johnny and Sue Storm, and becomes part of the Baxter Foundation, where he continues his work on his matter shuttle. This is where we're introduced to one of my personal pet hates, but we'll get to that in a bit. We get to meet Victor Von Doom, who also has been working on the same sort of dimensional project. They continue work on the mass shuttle until it's finally complete, introducing character Johnny Storm and Sue Storm as they go along. On the completion of it, they, of course, decide that they have to go to the other dimension, because the military, that's pretty much it.
And to plant the American flag.
Yeah, to plant the American flag. Okay, so basically they go to the dimension, which is never mentioned by its actual name in the comics. It's referred to as Planet Zero. To be honest, it's one of the better parts of the film. It does look interesting. Like, the liquids, different colours there, like...
The living planet. It kind of gave me vibes of the living planet from the Silver Surfer series.
Yeah. They go to the dimension, they plant the flag and all that, and then they go off to explore a bit, because Von Doom keeps rolling his eyes into the back of his head. Why, we don't know. This is another bit where they show no enthusiasm, by the way. Like, oh my, we're on a new planet. Must go. Explore. Come on, none of them had any okay, Johnny had a reaction.
Yeah, he did. He was the only one who had a reaction, really.
Yeah, well, other than Doom's eye rolling thing.
Other than Doom's eye rolling.
It was just like, Doom's just like,
the force is strong with this
one. he was feeling the force of the planet. But,
well, he literally does feel the force of the planet. That's exactly what happens next.
So Doom messes with the planet because he feels it connection to the force.
No, so, basically what happens is they all go down a mountain except for Johnny, who's wise enough to stay behind and act as the anchor for the rope with which they abseil the mountain. They go down and they investigate the energy sources running across the planet, the surface of the planet. Doom realises that the planet appears to be alive and appears to be calling to him. He touches the energy pool and disrupts it. The planet kind of has a tantrum.
Go boom.
Yeah, the planet has a tantrum. And they basically have to skedaddle back to the ship.
Shuttle.
The matter shuttle.
The matter shuttle.
Mark II. And
that was Mark 1.
Oh no, the original prototype was Mark 1.
Oh, fair enough, yeah.
They get to Mark III by the end of it.
Yeah.
But, basically, they get back to the ship with a bit of difficulty. Von Doom is the last one to get back onto the rope, and unfortunately, despite Reed's efforts to save him, he falls in to the rapidly, going to hell planet.
That's a good way of putting it. And basically, so they try to escape, however, Ben Grimm's door won't shut, complications arise, and Sue's only just able to, get them back in time before No, get them back to before things go. But anyway, so basically, yeah, and so Sue gets them back. However, she was also exposed to the radioactive whatever. So the team are revealed to have all developed their unique powers based on the original comics. Like Johnny has Flame On, and Sue turns invisible. Reed is rubber band, and Ben Grimm as a quarry.
Of course, we do get to see the help from the trusty American government as they immediately take control of them, and in general conspiracy theory style, they take them to an undisclosed base where they can
Area
operate
52.
on them.
Yes, got to get that reference in.
And basically, they try to train them to be warriors for America's military.
Because America, sorry,
And freedom.
and freedom.
And democracy.
We don't talk about democracy just yet. Okay,
We're not
anyway,
ready for it.
not ready for that democracy. So Reed Richards, using his powers of rubber band, is able to escape his custody. Finds out that, of course, Ben is turned into a rock, and in traditional, like, good friend style, busts it. No, he doesn't. He runs, and we have a time skip.
Of 1 year. Now that made me sit back in my chair.
What?
I was surprised that there was going to be a time skip of 1 entire year. I did not see that one coming.
Like, what in the world?
To be honest, I think that the movie would have flowed just as well without that time skip, because there was no like significant increase in.
Reed had to fix a couple of cash machines.
Well, he did, because I mean, ultimately, the stuff that he was doing there met no end anyway.
Yeah.
You know, he was.
It was such a
was
waste.
showing that he was
It
building that.
pointless.
It was showing that he was building that one-man matter shuttle because
Yeah.
he wanted to go back to the X world and try and create a cure for Ben and most likely himself.
Well,
But
anyway, we'll
I
get to
think
that.
the time skip's most valid point was in giving Ben the time he needed to go on that training with which he could kill the dudes, and we'll get back to that when we talk about more
So
story.
basically, after the 1 year time skip, we've revealed that Ben Grimm has been taken into the US military and is now killing folk. Because democracy. Also, they kind of want to get the remaining two, Sue and Johnny, into it. Johnny's kind of for it, which I kind of digged, because Johnny is kind of hot-headed. He would see this as a chance to be a hero, just by the fact that, you know...
It was in keeping with character with what we used to see in the original comics and in the original films.
Yeah, Johnny would want to go fight something, to be honest. He'd love the idea.
And even Ben as well, that would be...
No, Ben was completely out of character, No, Ben is the kind of person you leave in custodian
I'm
of your
kind of
kids.
confusing him with the Hulk.
Yeah, so did the movie makers, apparently.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a bit. Oh, I'm going to stare into that one. So, basically, Reed has completely disappeared, as we've aforementioned, and Sue is able to find him due to a outdated book reference. To be honest, I did enjoy that book. It was
What book are you talking about? Oh, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Yeah,
that was a good book.
That was such a good book.
Had a great movie adaptation as well. Except for the ending of the movie.
His movie adaptation sucked.
Yeah, I think it was good up until the very end, and then that was pretty good.
Yeah, and it was done by Disney.
Who knows? Maybe we'll do a review
we'll
on that.
We'll do a review on that. Fine, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Daniel versus Samuel.
20 years too late.
So, yeah. Reed is trying to build a machine similar to the one he had originally to go back into the dimension to find a cure to save Ben. However, Ben doesn't realise this and is deployed along with like a SWAT team to go capture Reed. The battle is glorious. Like,
oh yeah, we have to pat them on the back for that fight.
Yeah,
that was.
He hit him in the head.
He headbutted him.
Yeah,
it was over.
It was over. It was like a power guy with like Hulk-like strength. He headbutts Reed, and it's over. Anyway, so Reed is taken back into custody, and it's revealed that they've nearly built another matter shuttle to go back into the dimension. And Reed is just like, well, you got this wrong, this wrong, this wrong, and this wrong, and this wrong. I'll correct them in 9 minutes flat.
And that was pretty cool.
That was good. Like,
That is the Reed we wanted to see.
Anyway, so they send a SWAT team back into the dimension to get some samples and all that, and out of the gloom comes...
Doom. Basically, the SWAT team take him onto the capsule, to the matter shuttle.
Okay, so Doom's power in the comics is he has like a sort of kind of weaker Iron Man suit, And he also has, of course, his genius-level intellect, an army.
Ah, the Doom bots.
The
basically impersonations of himself that would die in his place.
Yeah, I mean, they're actually programmed to think they're Doom.
Yeah, I know. That is one of the cool things about it.
Also, he's also a sorcerer. He also has, like, magic powers. But in this one, they give him very limited... His powers include looking like a cybernetic avocado and exploding the back of people's heads. That's about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's... I get vibes from... I think it was an anime of some sort, but when they basically just had the power to make people's heads explode.
So Doom goes on this, like, rampage through the base after being told by this military guy that they can cure him, which he doesn't take too well to. He's like, why in the world would I want to be cured or something like that? And the world is dying, therefore I must kill it faster. So yeah, he goes around to try and get back into the dimensional transporter and encounters the Fantastic Four, which culminates in him going into the dimensional transporter and leaving. That's about it. They do all. Reed is just like, no! Bonk. Like, and
yeah,
he's like, bonk.
He basically god stomps them all in that first scene, which you expect a villain to do when they first fight the hero. Yeah, that is generally what you would expect.
You expect to see their powers in action. Like, I suppose Reed, like, climbed over that thing using his stretchiness to, like, pull himself up.
That was the thing about Reed. I almost felt as though they didn't have the budget to make him stretch most of the time.
They did better than the original in that. Because all he ever does is, like, use his arms to, like, go under the door and, like, do the little key thing. That's about as much as they used his powers in the original.
Okay.
Oh, also, they got him to bounce water off himself with the fire hydrant. That was a thing. Seriously.
Nah, basically, Doom sets up some sort of crazy eat-the-earth device where he basically tries to turn Earth into energy to power his planets using a crazy, over-designed, like,
ring with
of rocks.
Yeah.
Which kind of became like a sieve, turning matter into energy.
So Doom's plans are cut short when the Fantastic Four arrive in the negative zone, where it all bottles down to a massive showdown, which is done...
The fight lasts approximately 25 seconds.
Yeah, and Doctor Doom is completely annihilated by this energy sieve thing that you mentioned, which means
cheese grated.
Yeah, and basically meaning we will never see Doctor Doom in that series again, even if they make sequels.
Nah, they'll find a way to bring him back.
To be fair, yeah. So, the Fantastic Four are taken back to the military, who quite smugly says, oh, by the way, guys, we'd like to ship you to Iraq now. Is that alright?
Iraq? We're done in Iraq now.
I don't care. So
they'll find some way to get him there.
Yeah, so basically they were just like, we want to resume our initial relations, and Reed is like, stuff you guys, we're going to be going to a place that isn't in the comics. And
basically, Ben reasons quite nicely with his fists to get them a new building where they can work on Negative Zone and to find cures for their powers.
So, anyway, they announced themselves the Fantastic Four in the most...
exhilarating way ever.
Ben, okay. Fantastic. What was that? Bruh!
Yeah, they don't... Do they actually say Fantastic Four? I don't think they do.
Of course not, no.
And the actual ending disappointed me. At that point when he said that we're now the Fantastic Four, to be honest, I might have been a bit of an idiot back then. Well, when I say back then, I mean a few minutes ago in the cinema. I was expecting Doom to suddenly launch himself back into the fray, and they were going to go for round 2, and this was going to be a more spectacular one. And boom, the credits. That struck me down more than any single plot twist in that film. That was the synopsis. Probably a bit longer than we'd expected to go on for. The second bit, as I was saying earlier, we're going to talk about our favourite scene and our favourite quote. My favourite scene in the film was the scene where the planet basically starts to erupt and go haywire.
Oh, actually, that was my favourite scene too. That was good.
Okay, so you agree.
Yeah.
It actually was probably one of the best animated scenes in it. actually was slightly
It
was tense.
tension,
It was actually tense.
because yeah, go ahead.
I actually wasn't 100% certain as to what was going to happen because they weren't doing it in the traditional, they go on a great adventure and get hit by cosmic rays. We'll overlay that with the original song because we suck at singing. But I wasn't 100% sure as to whether or not they were actually going to escape from the dimension, or Sue. I thought that Sue was going to have to come back and save them. That's how she was going to get hit by the radiation. I wasn't expecting her to get hit by a pulse if they re-entered. So actually I wasn't 100% certain if they were going to make it out. So that actually got me a little bit... Actually, not a little bit, actually got me very interested. I really enjoyed that scene, and I think it was the best scene in the film. My best quote, I'm not sure what yours is, I think you should definitely think of one for yourself, but my favourite quote...
Oh, I already know what yours is, I don't like it.
Well, it's up to opinion anyway. Was when Ben Grimm, i.e. the Thing, and Reed Richards are together on the plane when they just arrested Reed for being a superhuman. Which is basically how you have to put it. Reed and Grimm are kind of awkward at this time because Reed did abandon Grimm, as it appeared, for a year.
Friends.
Yeah, and Grimm makes it quite apparent that they're not friends, which doesn't really amount to much in the end of the thing. But Reed asks Ben, does it hurt, in reference to his being covered in rock.
His condition.
And Ben says, Ben's reply, actually I consider to be one of the coolest lines of the film, actually gave me a small chill. He said, well, we're doing them in worst scene and then worst quote, respectively. Okay. So I'll say my worst scene. My least favourite scene was the very ending scene where it's kind of like the status quo again. They're together and they're trying to figure out what name to call the team, and it was just terribly done in my opinion. There was no hard work into it.
No enthusiasm from any of the cast. Like, we should totally form a team. That's what we do now.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, what was your least favourite scene?
My least favourite scene was the fight. It just felt so bland.
Okay, so that was your least favourite scene. Now we'll say our respective least favourite lines from the film. Now my least favourite line was when Johnny is talking to the other street racer. Now, one thing I really didn't like about that line was the lack of oomph he put into it. He could have, you wouldn't expect him to say it with that tone. He almost whispered it, and that was a real downer for me. I just didn't. That just wasn't real.
We don't want to keep up the neighbours.
Yeah, I mean, there was no reason to keep it quiet. They were going to rev up their engines quite loud regardless. And it just it seemed as though it was fake. Mm. You're not supposed to see that in film. Anyway, your least favourite quote?
It would be more like a dialogue. Could I say, like, the bit where Reed is talking to Victor Von Doom about they've completed the machine?
Yeah, I guess that's...
Just after Victor's just like, you're being unprofessional, Reed, like, stop hitting on my girl. He's just like, we finished it. And I was like, we finished what? Like, what? You finished what? The machine, Victor, it's all done. I was like, oh, your life work's complete. Oh, this must be such a happy time for you. And he just basically just looks at Victor with this blank expression and says his line with no enthusiasm. Out of 10.
Out of 10. For you.
3. I wouldn't give it a 1 or a 2, because it did have some entertainment value at the beginning.
I'd personally give it a 2, though.
Okay.